Right, also. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the April 2022 Parks and Environment Committee meeting at Manhattan Community Board 7.
Natasha, can you speak a little louder?
Yes. In fact, let me get my headphones.
Excellent.
Is this better? Okay, great.
Yes.
So everybody, welcome to our meeting. My name is Natasha Kazmi, and I'm a co-chair of this committee along with Barbara Adler, who's also here on the call. I wanted to thank William Ortiz, a member of our committee as well, for taking this month's minutes. If you are a member of the public, please do identify yourself clearly as well as any relevant affiliation so that William's job is easier tonight. Before we start our very packed agenda, I just wanted to wish everybody a happy Earth Month. Earth Day is April 22nd, and in order to honor that, Community Board 7 has compiled a list of local events in a document that has been placed on our website. I was hoping to drop it into the Q&A, but I'm not sure if I can. I will keep trying during the course of this meeting, and maybe I'll be able to. Otherwise, if you go to the Community Board 7 landing page, the document is right there. And we actually have many events over there that are sponsored by our local council member, Gail Brewer. And I also wanted to thank Polly Spain for highlighting an event at NYCHA for us also that is related to Earth Month. We hope you will try to attend or participate in some of these events. Definitely try to share the list with your friends and neighbors. And if there's anybody who would like to add a few more local events to this, then please, we can take it up in the, please do. We can definitely listen to it during the new business section at the end of our meeting. So, if everybody could just mute themselves, thank you. Our first item on the agenda is the Annabelle Avilas Playground. We have Daniel Cohen and Jennifer Pliego here from El Taller Latino Americano. I don't know if I got that pronunciation correct. If I didn't, then please,
that was good.
Please correct me. And they're here to present a proposal for a temporary art installation in the playground this spring. So without further ado, please take the floor, Jennifer and Daniel.
I'll be very brief before I turn the floor over to Jennifer. I'm just here to enthusiastically, without reservation, wildly endorse Jennifer's plans and hope that this committee and the board also agrees with that decision. Annabelle Avilas is on a tear. We're doing great. We're actually part of the Community Parks Initiative, and next Monday there's going to be a whole discussion about a redevelopment opportunity for the park. I hope all of you got that notice and will join us in that discussion on Monday. I have nothing further to add except I think Jennifer's work is great. She already has work up in the park right now, and it's been wonderfully and well received. The floor is yours, Jennifer. Please take it away.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Thank you for allowing me this forum. I'm Jennifer Pliego. I'm with El Taller Latino Americano. For those of you who do not know El Taller will be 44 years in the upcoming, in the next year, this year. And it is a not-for-profit cultural institution that supports and is a bridge for all different kinds of communities. Its bread and butter has been teaching language, teaching Spanish, but it is a place that really believes in art for art's sake and what that does to help communities. So we have a very strong music program as well as a very strong arts program, which I have been helping to guide for nearly 20 years now, I can't believe. Anyway, the pandemic, of course, has forced all of us to reinvent. And during this time, we experimented a lot with different ways of showing art. One of them was by creating reproductions of work and hanging it in the streets. And so the exhibit that is there now is an exhibit that is called Good Neighbors. And it is a local project that is portraits of people who live in the Manhattan Valley being represented on the fence of Annabelle Avilas playground in the Manhattan Valley. We are proposing to follow this up with a year's worth of exhibitions in lieu of doing work in a formal gallery setting. We're really interested in this public forum and giving not just artists, but viewers of art a chance to see it in their own community. And it's been a really wonderful project to have Good Neighbors in Annabelle Avilas Park. If I don't know, do I have sharing capacity? Because I can share
Yes,
some
you
of
do.
the work that we have. I think that that's better than me talking about it. So
Yeah, it should be all set.
great. Thank you so much. Can everybody see this? Yes, everyone can see the screen?
Yes,
Okay, perfect.
fine. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Good Neighbors is coming down at the end of this month, and we're replacing it with a internationally renowned cartoonist by the name of Felipe Galindo. Felipe is originally from Mexico. He's been living in New York for, I don't know, 30, 40 years now. But he does these really beautiful cartoons that are not just beautiful, but very clever. Sometimes they're political, sometimes they're just humorous and funny. The exhibit is called Peace, Love, and Humor. And this is just a small selection of the work that will be there. The Parks Department has already approved this, so we are hoping that you guys will support this as well at this point for an installation on April 29th or April 30th. This will be up for 2 months, followed by the work of 3 local artists, Bernardo Palumbo, Atu Ram, and Early Rudolph. They are very different artists. What connects them is a kind of urban rhythm, an urban feeling in their work. Here's the work of Bernardo Palumbo. It's very figurative. It deals a lot with movement and the relationship between forms that he discovers and uncovers in his work. Atu is also dealing with form and formal relationship. He's doing things often, experimenting with texture as well. So that's really exciting in his work. We think it will convey very well as reproduction. And Early Rudolph's work is really like an urban landscape, but again, with this real freedom and expression throughout his work. I don't know if I said this, but all of these works are on outdoor materials, so they will last. And the work that's up there now has been up since October, and it's been doing very, very well. The Good Neighbors project will return on September. Because it was awarded a grant from LMCC, the Creative Engagement Award, to do a temporary installation on a building that's going to come down. So inside Annabelle Avilas Park is the accompanying building, which is 103 West 108th Street, is scheduled to come down. It's currently a garage. And like the other garages that have come down on the block, this one will also come down and be rebuilt for supportive housing. In the meantime, we've gotten permission to put a temporary installation featuring a photograph of Annabelle that we just found in his yearbook from 1962 at Booker T Junior High School, when it was a junior high school and not middle school.
That's fantastic, Jennifer. Can you email that to me? I'd love to have a copy of that for our website.
Yeah, sure. And then the other feature of this are the Good Neighbors portraits that are at the bottom. That will stay up, we hope, for more than a year until that building comes down, and new portraits of the neighbors that haven't been seen up will accompany it for 2 months. And here's some examples of those portraits a little bit closer for you guys to see. They're all taken in the street, and these are all people that live in the neighborhood. And then this will be followed by 43 years of art of Altair, and one reproduction from 43 different artists representing each year of the organization's existence. And then as far as we go is through February 28th of 2023 with a Colombian artist by the name of Torizo Arana. And he is what you would say like a magical realist. He's environmental. He's really thinking about nature and finding the life in nature and how nature creates life. So you can see he's using foliage to create people and animals. And it's really colorful. And we think that it's going to look really beautiful in the playground. We could keep going with this if, the reception is good and everybody is happy to support it. Altair is happy to keep doing it. We really love the idea of this forum. And, but we only went until the end of February because, well, the world keeps changing.
Thank you. Are you done with the
I am done. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you guys have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. But
Yeah.
I think that this paints a pretty clear picture about what it is that we're thinking about doing and what we've planned.
Thank you. This was really a very beautiful presentation, and I'll be sure to visit Annabelle Avilas very soon.
Please. Well, that's the idea.
Yes, thank you. Let's go around the committee first. If anybody has any questions for either Jennifer or Dan, please go ahead. I see Barbara. Would you like
think
to go?
Ken had his hand up first, so.
Oh, okay, sorry. Ken, go ahead, please.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. These are really, I enjoyed looking at just these small versions of them, so I can imagine how the big ones affect you. Just a couple of questions. Are these original works or reproductions?
They're all reproductions given because they're being shown outside. So we're just making reproductions on a vinyl material that stands up really well in the outdoors and all climates. Okay.
And when I assume they're not all on that wall of the garage that's going to be torn down? Some of them
no, these are actually, I'm sorry, I didn't make that clear. This is just on the fencing. These will be installed on the fencing. The only one that's going up on that wall is that installation.
Okay.
All of these are around they're on the fencing facing the street. And then when you enter the playground, along the fencing inside.
Okay.
Jennifer, the photo of Annabelle Avilas is also like going to be on a removable background, or is it going to be not painted onto the brick?
No, we have right down from our discussion. we have designed it so that it is actually, all of that stuff that will be going on the wall is now designed as like an applique, right? Stuff that can be removed. So it will be on canvas, it will be on wood, and then be attached to the building.
And how are you getting the word out? Coming to this meeting is
Well, coming to
good
this
way.
meeting is one.
Yeah.
Well, Altair has its own method of dissemination, right? Facebook, newsletters. You know, we're working with Peter at the Columbus Amsterdam bid. We're working with Dan.
Right. Maybe we could put something on our website.
Yes, would be great. We can
I
have,
think
Great.
we definitely should.
yeah, if you send me to whom I should send information to, I'm more than happy to share that information.
Great.
You can send it to me and Natasha. Do you have our email address?
I have Natasha's
Okay.
email address.
Yeah, okay. Send it to her and she'll forward it on.
Great.
Are you finished, Ken?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say that this art is spectacular. I am so impressed. Every single artist is so different and yet absolutely charming and really wonderful. I can't wait to see this exhibit. Did you say that the first one opens on April 29th or 30th? Is that the first one?
We're going to, well, the first one's up already, right? Because that's this project. With
Oh, yeah.
neighbors. It's
Okay,
actually,
yeah. Yeah.
a project. So that's up. You will see Good Neighbors.
Okay.
Good Neighbors for Linda on April 29th or April 30th. And what we're saying is that it will open on May 1st.
Okay, great. All right. And I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but I just wondered if in a sentence or two, you could tell us a little bit about Annabelle, why the playground is named after him.
Annabelle was just a local kid who he went to Booker T. Washington. He was originally from Puerto Rico. He came here as a young boy with his family, and he served and was killed in the Vietnam War. Why he was named after him, we're still trying to learn that.
Wow.
We think that maybe he had a relationship which I'm looking into. I heard that he had a friendship with a Parks Department employee who took care of the playground around the time that he lived here, because he kind of, took care of all of the kids that hung out in the park, make sure they didn't get into any trouble. And when he passed away, it was his suggestion, but I'm not sure that that's true. These are just, I've been talking to a lot of people trying to find things out.
If you do find out, it would be great to post that along with this,
Yeah, I'm trying. That's what we're trying to learn. It was a coup that we found. We were able to get in contact with somebody who actually was a classmate and had that yearbook from 1962.
That's really marvelous. We just have the military photo from when he was enlisted. There's a website, foaap.org, that provides a little information, additional material about the playground.
Thank you to you and Dan for making this presentation tonight. And Dan, nice to see you after such a long time.
Always, Barbara, pleasure.
Dan used to be a Community Board 7 member.
Yes, well, now I'm on Community Board 9, but as I've often said, you never forget your first board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments?
Susan,
sorry, yes. Go ahead, Susan.
Well, I'm approaching Dan's level of excitement. I don't think I can match it, but I think this is just superb. And it reminds me of the lovely installation that was done at the playground with knit flowers or crocheted flowers quite some time ago.
Natalie, that was a great, she's still doing yarn work in other areas of the city. She's maybe actually even coming back to the neighborhood again. So she's terrific.
Well, right now I know we have 3 avid knitters on this call. Roberta, Barbara, and myself, if not more. So I want to say if she wants to do another installation, she'll have support from me at least. But anyway, oh, and Mark Diller as well. Okay. But I just want to say, I think this is a tremendous use of public space just to liven up the neighborhood. It's really wonderful. I did not realize that Annabelle was a veteran, so thank his family for his service. I wanted to know if there was any sort of opening ceremony or anything that we could post on our website so people could come and be there for that.
When we install when we do the big installation, we'll let you know. I mean, I think, things are a little bit COVID related. So as we get closer to that, yeah, we would love to do something, but we're playing things, little cautiously.
There's actually a series of celebrations. The bathroom that's being constructed in the Wish Fish building that's adjacent to the playground, but is open to the playground, is going to be open shortly, and there'll be an event for that. There'll certainly be a celebration for Jennifer's installation. And then at some point, if the CPI discussion, which is on Monday, talking about a improvement to the park, when that kicks off at some point, I suppose, later this year. So there's a lot going on in Avilas. You should come check us out.
Okay. I was asking because I figured, it's an outdoor event, so it'd be easier to have some sort of good feeling in the neighborhood and get people out. Really great. Thank you so much for your efforts.
And there'll be a working bathroom. We're all very excited.
I mean,
yeah, actually, Dan, I wanted to discuss the idea of an opening for Felipe as well. So we can touch base about that.
We'll talk offline. Absolutely.
Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, Elizabeth. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Sure. I was just going to add, I worked with Dan on this. He has come to many community board meetings in addition to being in his role as a board member. He has come to countless full board meetings where he's talked about the playground, and I just wanted to give him a big shout out and thanks for making this happen. And it's nice to meet you, Jennifer. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Anyone else? Nobody from the community board, but anybody from the attendees? I don't see any other hands up. If not, then thank you so much, Dan and Jennifer, for being here. You're welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting, or if you need to have dinner, drop off, then you're welcome to do that too. And we look forward to these new shows coming up, and please do send us whatever material you have. The presentation, any events related to the opening of these exhibits, and we'll be sure to share them with the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, for your time, and thanks, Dan, as always.
Always. Pleasure. Thanks.
Now moving on to the next item on the agenda, we have Edward Amador with us. He is the Director of Communications at Gail Brewer's office. He's joining us today to talk about his office's parks funding priorities for the upcoming budget year. And I'm excited that Roberta is also here because I know that she's worked very hard on all these. So I look forward to hearing what Edward has to say. So take the floor, please, Edward.
Hi, everyone. Great to be with you all. I'm getting to see many of you more and more often, which is great. Good to see you again, Mark. Hi, Roberta. Hey, Max. And for all of you I haven't met yet, it's nice to finally meet you. There was a little bit of a miscommunication leading into this meeting, so I do want to talk about some of our parks, sanitation, environmental priorities. I welcome your feedback, but from what I understand, the Parks Committee is going to set up a standalone meeting with our budget director, Leo Bellaro, to better flesh out the CB7's needs and also desires. And I'll just share with you some of the things we're working on over at the office. So thank you all once again. Thank you for plugging our Earth Day event. So on Friday at 11 a.m. at our office at 563 Columbus Avenue, in partnership with the Upper West Side Coalition of Block Associations, Love Your Street Day, and the West 80s Neighborhood Association, Melissa Elstein. We're going to do a street tree care demonstration that will kick off a week of surveys across the district where we look at our tree beds and see, are the trees healthy? Are they planted? Are there stumps? Are there rat burrows? Is there garbage? Is there litter? As a community-driven way to learn more about the conditions of our streets, we know that quality of life and sanitation are really the top of mind issues for the folks in our community. So this is a great way for Earth Week, Earth Month to get involved and clean up the community. We're also doing a virtual tree stewardship event on Tuesday evening, April 26th at 6:30 in the evening. So feel free to join us for that. And Gail will be doing bag giveaways this weekend, including at the 103 Open Street Festival on Sunday. So we've got a bunch of things going on. I'll dive into kind of like the budget priorities, policy priorities that we're focused on. I think these things will be of interest to you. And then I'll take some questions afterward if you want to know anything. And once again, I'm sorry, I'm not as involved with the budget side of things as my colleague Leo is, but I do communication, so I should be, aware of these things. So first, parks. Something that Gail's very passionate about, you probably know already, is making our school playgrounds accessible outside of school hours. So she's working to figure out how much that's going to cost, talking to the DOE, talking to the Parks Department in order to expand the amount of recreational space we have for our families, our young people, and people who just need a breath of fresh air every now and then. She's also working, as she was doing borough president, on increasing the amount of accessible park bathrooms there are, renovating bathrooms, and finding out why it costs so much to build bathrooms in New York City and in our parks. The Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Monument is something she's very focused on still getting the funding for. We need about $35 million for that monument. As we come up on Memorial Day, I think we'll all be thinking of that memorial more often. Next, we joined the council in advocating for a 1% commitment of the full budget for the Parks Department. It seems that your committee is considering a resolution on the same topic, so I'm sure that we, would be happy to support that. We're also working with DOHMH to make sure that our parks are healthy. We had some constituent concerns about canine leprotosis or lepto, I don't know the proper name, but DOHMH came out, they did an inspection of the Riverside Dog Run. They found only minor rat activity, but they do have inspectors monitoring the area in case there needs to be more enforcement or mitigation. So that's on the parks front. On environment, something I'm very passionate about is stopping non-essential flights over the city. So if any of you want to help me stop the chop, I'm really focused on this. We all know this is a big task. We get so many emails about people frustrated with the helicopter noise. I see so many tweets with people frustrated about the helicopter noise. I think it's a very serious issue. There's going to be a lot of parts to pull together. We need to work with New Jersey towns. We need to work with Brad Hoylman. We need to work with Jerry Nadler, Karen Maloney. We have a bill coming up in the city council. We have a resolution supporting Jerry Nadler's legislation. But this is really going to need to be a campaign that generates the political will to ban non-essential flights. It's way too much to dive into on this call, but I welcome your partnership on that, and I will definitely keep you posted as we continue wrapping our arms around that work and amplifying that campaign. I also want to let you know on the environmental front, we were supposed to have a stated meeting here at City Council this Thursday. It was postponed till next week, but we have two pieces of legislation coming out regarding the environment. First is the CORE Act. One would require 3 drop-off sites in every community district for compost for organic goods, and then also 3 locations for e-waste. This legislation was introduced last session in the height of the pandemic when it looked like everything was going to get cut out of DSNY. So we see this as an important building block to a universal organics curbside collection program through the city. So we would love your support on that too. And we're also proposing a bill with Councilmember James Gennaro to create a Department of Sustainability and Climate Change. Right now, there's just an office, and offices don't get as many resources as a department would. They don't have as much power. And at any day when the money dries up, the office could die, right? So this really codifies the work of protecting our critical infrastructure, thinking about our coastlines and the resilience of that critical infrastructure I mentioned. So that's what I have for you. A couple other things are more on the sanitation front. We did a sanitation walk through the 72nd Street Business Corridor with the Manhattan leadership of the sanitation department. We want to see more increased sanitation services like litter basket pickups. We're working on lowering the frequency of emergency service vehicle alarms. And we are really focused on the complaints we're getting about the rodent control and the open restaurants program. So I welcome any questions or anything you want to bring to my attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we were hoping, actually, I'm going to go to questions first, and maybe I'll just go to Roberta first, because I think she's worked a lot on these priority issues. Thank you, Roberta.
So Gail, years ago when she was our city council rep and now again, your office, Eddie, has always been very helpful to the community board and meets with Parks Department, or with the Parks Committee members every year to go over the items that are on our budget and also our district needs, because they don't always align, so that we know what projects have been funded. So, you know, very, very often, for example, we have a playground that's partially funded by a city council person and then funded by the Parks Department, and some of the funding comes through and some of it doesn't. So, you know, we might get part of a playground fixed, but not all of it. So, you know, when we meet with Leo, it'll be very helpful to have a list of what's been done, what's in the works. And also, as I've spoken with Barbara and Natasha, one of the things that we need to have is why that, you know, what the data is for that particular playground or environmental concern, and also who else is supporting it. So if the 3,000 children are served and the playground's not good and local PTAs want it, that's always a big help.
Thank you, Roberta. I'll go to Susan next. Or I'm sorry, I think, yeah, okay, Susan, go ahead.
Eddie, nice to meet you. I'm, as everyone on the committee knows, I'm an active birder. Love to spend lots of time in Central Park birding, and the helicopters could not be more annoying if they tried. I have a suggestion. You may or may not have already done this, but perhaps reaching out to the Audubon Society and the Linnaean Society to get their support, because for whatever reason, the number of birds in the park is diminishing. It's been going on over time, and there's some speculation in the birding community that the helicopters are part of the reason. It's a serious issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that suggestion. That's great. Thank you.
Ken?
Yeah, nice to meet you, Eddie. I worked very closely with Melissa and Stop the Chop for the last year and a half. So I can actually relay that to her about the great idea. I'm sure, I imagine we've tried the birding societies, but I'll make sure. I was.
If you need contacts, I can let you know who to talk to, who'd be good.
Okay, great. And one thing I was wanted to ask you about, since we have you, and you probably know nothing about this, since you're probably fairly new, and this is something that dates back to about 2015. But have you heard of the Kayak Dock, which used to be at 72nd and the Hudson in Riverside Park?
Not yet. I've heard of the 79th Street Boat Basin, but please tell me about the Kayak Dock.
Okay, well, it's a really long saga, but the dock that it was using it was a volunteer group that was allowing people to use free kayaks. It was a free kayak program, and somewhere around 5,000 to 10,000 people were using it during the season, going out and experiencing the Hudson in a different way. And I forget what the technical term of it. It's not the dock, but it's the whatever it was that was launching. The launch was destroyed and needed to be replaced. And the budget for it kept going up every time we asked, and it finally got up to around 2 million. About when she was borough president, Gail convened a meeting of all the stakeholders, and that was what the upshot of that was, that she was going to look into getting some private funding to help with it, and try to combine that with some public funding to try to get to that $2 million figure. And that was,
Excuse me, Ken, I'm going to interrupt here because this project isn't happening. We've been told that by the Parks Department, and it's not happening for a number of reasons. And Eddie doesn't know anything about it. I don't think this is the time or the place to discuss this right now. So,
well, I would disagree that it's not happening.
No,
it's a political decision whether it's happening. I think Gail very much wants to have it happen.
well, Eddie will bring it back to her. I'm sure of that now. And but we're not going to have that discussion now during this meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have another question, which is, do you know when Gail is in the district office? Because there was something I just wanted to stop by and talk to her about.
She kind of comes and goes between here at 250 and the district, yeah.
So there's no set time.
No,
Okay.
she's on every single committee hearing. So swing by and maybe you'll see her.
Okay,
That's all I can say.
okay.
Thank you for that. Good to meet you, Ken.
Nice to meet you.
I think Mark, please go ahead. You're muted, Mark.
I make a lot more sense when I'm muted, but I'll do it this way. I couldn't find, I thought we had a resolution supporting Congressman Adler and Congresswoman Maloney's bill back when it was first introduced, but I can't seem to find it. But what I did find, I thought so. Well, there's one in January 2021 calling on the city to stop accepting
January 2020 was where we supported the bills.
Oh, great. Okay. And then January 2021, we added to that by saying we shouldn't be spending city money to promote the helicopters that we're trying to limit.
Exactly.
Anyway, so there's plenty of room for CB7 without an additional resolution to support whatever it is that Gail is proposing to support in the council. So I guess that's up to the chairs and the chair of the board, whether maybe a letter of support or just resending those resolutions might be in order. But I thought that might be helpful to that part of the discussion.
Thank you, Mark. And I want to let you know that I don't know if we submitted the resolution in support of 1643, which is Nadler Maloney Vasquez's bill. It seems like that bill has no chance of getting passed, right? I think that's what we've all been told. I've heard that there's a bill called, it's HR 389. I don't know if you know this one, that will ban the flight of non-essential flights over national parks. So there's a little bit more political will there because it's a national issue, and that would help us protect Governor's Island and the Statue of Liberty and maybe some other sites. So I just recommend you looking at 389 as well, in addition to 1643.
I think our resolution is very broad. So I think in addition to supporting that, it says we support any legislation that would. So I don't think we need a new resolution. I think we just need a letter.
Understood.
I agree with Roberta. And if I could also add that the Grant's tomb and Theodore Roosevelt's birthplace are both national monuments, as is the Stonewall. And if you take a fairly broad interpretation of the word over, then you pretty much have the island of Manhattan.
There's also state legislation and also efforts to close down the 30th Street heliport on the west side.
Right. Those are the Hoylman bills that would get rid of the concessions.
Right.
Right.
Are there any other questions or comments? I think we'll be in touch with Leo. We do want to have a more comprehensive discussion with him about the district needs statement and the upcoming budget. So I think we will be in touch with him. And I think it seems like an updated letter in support of Stop the Chop, or just basically in support of stopping non-essential flights is a good idea to discuss. So we'll definitely do that. I'm personally a big fan of the CORE Act that you mentioned, the 3 locations for e-waste and composting. But thank you so much for all this. I'm going to check one more time if there are any questions or comments. Ken, your hand is up. I think that was from before. Otherwise, thank you so much for coming, Eddie. You are welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting and see what goes on in a typical Parks and Environment Committee meeting. But also if you need to go get dinner or get on with your evening, we would understand.
Right,
Thanks
you.
a lot. And we look forward to working with you closely in the future.
Likewise, thank you. Good night, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Good night. Moving on, our next guest is Whitney Dearden. Is she here? Yeah. Hi, Whitney. Whitney is from the Riverside Park Conservancy, and she's here to discuss some the upcoming summer programming in the park. So take it away, Whitney.
Of course. Thank you very much for having me. It's great to be here. I will be very fast. I just wanted to stop by and say hello and announce that the Summer on the Hudson season has been announced for Riverside Park. I'm going to share my screen because I have a couple quick slides, if that's okay. Let's see. Can everybody see that? Great, thank you. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Whitney Dearden. I'm the Director of Public Programming at the Riverside Park Conservancy. Among a lot of other things, I run Summer on the Hudson, which is our annual arts and culture festival that we put on every year, May to September, from 59th Street all the way up to the George Washington Bridge. We do this in partnership with New York City Parks to bring you over 250 events all summer long. Everything we do is free and open to the public, including concerts, movies, health and wellness events, dance parties, full day festivals, children's programming, educational workshops, and more. And I am so pleased to announce that after a virtual season in 2020 and a somewhat abbreviated season in 2021, that starting May 1st, we are bringing back our full slate of programs. So we look forward to seeing you all up and down the park. From 59th up to the George Washington Bridge. We have some new events this year that I'm pretty excited about. This is all available in our brochure, which I'll talk about in a second, but excited to bring in some new educational programs, such as outdoor drawing and painting with the Art Students League, forest bathing walks, trivia and game night on Pier I, and of course, some new STEM programs for kids in the more northern part of the park. As well as returning favorites. We took a break from our full day festivals last year just because of volume concerns, but we feel confident and ready to move forward with things like the West Side County Fair, with our Fly New York City Kite Festival, as well as our ever popular silent discos. So we're very excited to bring those back for everyone. If you want to keep an eye on us online, here is all of our social media. This is where we post up to the minute updates, including weather cancellations and more. I'll leave this slide open for a minute just so people can make note of it. We will be cruising around the neighborhood on Thursday with our physical brochure. Many of you may have received it in the mail already, but in case you haven't, we'll be distributing them to libraries, to local senior centers, to the local politicians' offices. So we'll be at Gail Brewer's office with a stack of these. In addition, if you would like one mailed to you, I'll mail it to you personally. You can find me at this email address or give me a call at this phone number. You can also find our full schedule online if you want to save paper at this website, nyc.gov/parks/SOH. We are really excited to be back in a more robust capacity, and we look forward to seeing everyone in the park. I am happy to hang out, answer questions, but also if you think of anything a little later and want to shoot me an email, that is my address. That's how you can reach me.
Thank you very much, Whitney. I just had a quick question. So everything this year is going to be in person, or do you have anything virtual? Okay.
Mm-hmm. I simply don't have the capacity to do both, unfortunately. I'm examining ways to have dual presentations in the future, but it may not manifest right away.
All right. And in the hopefully very off chance that you need to pivot to remote, are there certain programs that lend themselves better to that, or?
Yeah, so we actually, we were able to do in 2020, we were able to do all of our health and wellness virtually, as well as all of our children's programs virtually, which included things like our play dates, which we do in West Harlem Piers, but also our children's performance concert series that traditionally happens on Pier I. The great news is that all of the virtual infrastructure is in place now in a way it wasn't in 2020. So myself and my event partners feel very comfortable making that switch if we need to. And those kinds of announcements we will certainly make clear on social media as well as our website.
Thanks. I hope that doesn't happen.
I hope it doesn't happen, but we're ready to
person.
be flexible. We had a very successful outdoor season last year. We plan to maintain social distancing when it comes to seating arrangements on the pier, just to make people feel a little more comfortable.
All right, thank you. I see Elizabeth has her hand up. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Yeah, just two quick questions. One was for the concessions, PRI, Ellington's, other outdoor spaces. Could you give us an idea on when they're opening? I don't think they're open yet, but maybe some of them are.
So I believe that both, I'm probably not please don't quote me on this because I'm not generally the person who liaises with them, but I am told that they are opening on a weather related basis, probably weekends. Usually they do a soft open through April, and then when the weather gets nicer in May, they move to their full schedule.
Okay, and then my second question was just on Earth Day and whether there were any activities planned for, later this week or anything outside, but it sounds like May 1st is really the date.
May 1st is my start date. That's just kind of how things fall. Our volunteer coordinator is usually the one who would handle those Earth Day projects.
Sure. Okay, great. Excellent. No,
Great.
Thanks. Just wanted to check in on those things since it's
of course.
Nice. Hopefully going to be nicer weather. I think it's.
I hope so. Fingers crossed.
Now,
It's pretty miserable right now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I think Peter Arnston has a question. Go ahead, Peter. Peter, we can't hear you.
Apologies.
Is Peter muted or?
The host needs to help him, ask him to unmute.
I was unmuting myself there. Yes. 1 second. I'm sending an email on my other screen. Go ahead, Peter. You should be good now.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. And I'm sorry about that delay. Whitney, and the committee, there is going to be a talk by Margaret Bracken on April 27th, next Wednesday, 6:30 with the Bloomingdale Neighborhood History Group on some of the history of the introduction of certain flowering trees. I don't know if it's going to be limited to Riverside Park. That was where the principal interest began with one of the members of the history group. But it remains to be seen how that will develop. But just know that she will be speaking through it'll be a virtual presentation, Zoom presentation, so people can ask questions. And that will be 6:30 on Wednesday, the 27th through and you can get to it through the website of the Bloomingdale Neighborhood History Group, which I believe is upperwestsidehistory.org.
I think that sounds right. I can double check on that. Margaret, for those of you who don't know, Margaret Bracken is our landscape architect at Riverside Park.
Yes, and so we are very much looking forward to this.
Highly recommend.
Yes, it should be very good. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. I'm trying to see if there are any other questions. There don't seem to be. I just had a follow-up question. During the Summer on the Hudson events, do you guys beef up sanitation services like trash collection around the park or cleaning?
We try to. I know I can only speak for myself and my staff. We provide masks, hand sanitizer, gloves at all of our events for people to use as they will. The park staff that handles our trash cleanup during events, I try to get on them to be frequent about it so that we can have a clean, safe environment during all of our events. But ultimately, I manage the programming staff versus the actual park maintenance staff.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for coming tonight. I don't think we have any other questions or comments for you. This all sounds very exciting. I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, I have young kids and I live very close to the park, so this is very exciting. And to be all outdoors is like, it's a real luxury after 2 years. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad. Thank you so much for coming tonight. And we'll be sure to spread the word.
Sounds good. Thank you.
If you have any flyer, like if this is it, then we can post this. But if you have any other flyers, then feel free to send them over. And we can post that onto our website as well.
Yes, I actually have a full PDF of the brochure, so I'll email that to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Our next item is a discussion on a draft letter, a letter that was drafted last week by Barbara, addressed to Mayor Eric Adams regarding his promised 1% budget for our city parks, for all our city parks. And Barbara circulated the document last week, and we asked for comments and feedback. I'm going to try to share my screen to see if I can. What is this? Yeah.
Here it's up, Natasha.
Barbara, is that you?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So we didn't hear back from any committee members. So we're putting up the letter again for everybody to read, including the public. If you have any questions or comments or ideas or feedback, this would be a good time to give it. Otherwise, I really like the letter. It's very direct. It's very clear in what it's asking for. And it's asking for nothing more than what candidate Adams had promised during his campaign.
Let me just say that New Yorkers for Parks is the one who reached out to Community Board 7, and I'm sure numerous organizations to ask them to please support the bill, to please support their request that he honor what he said he would do and give 1% of the budget to parks. So we're really just doing what we were told, but we completely agree with it as well.
And I think it would be quite symbolic to put this out during Earth Month. So the floor is open for discussion in case anybody has any comments.
Natasha, just so you know, when we did our response to OMB about budget requests for parks, we told them that that the money should come to several of the parks from the 1% that he had promised. So CB7 is already on record for having commented on it.
Sure, okay. Thank you. Susan, did you want to add something?
I think it's brilliant. It's great. Let it rip.
We had thought that a vote was not really necessary. We would just sign the letter and send it. But if somebody feels strongly that we need a vote, then we could vote on it.
Elizabeth? Go ahead, please.
I think this is a great letter, so thank you for drafting it and for the work with New Yorkers for Parks. I do think the references to climate change are great. I also think because we are CB7 and we are in sort of based on our geography, we benefit a lot from the, the two parks that we have. I don't know if we could add a sentence, I guess. I think it's in here. Sorry, I see the inequitable and inadequate parks and playgrounds in many neighborhoods. I think that answers my question. I've read it and I think that makes a lot of sense. I just think that we're very blessed in this neighborhood to have a lot of great park space and other neighborhoods aren't. And I'm glad that this letter addresses it. So thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think Barbara was very thorough in writing the letter.
Thanks,
Ken.
Barbara.
Oh, yeah, I like the letter also. Very well written. I do have one editing suggestion. The preposition in the second sentence, I think, should be under investment in rather than in to.
Okay, thank you for that. I will, I can't make the correction here because this is a PDF, so I can't edit it, but thank you.
Sorry, I didn't respond earlier.
That's okay. Mark?
Thanks. I also support the tone and content of the letter. In the last line of the second sentence of the first paragraph, tiny little thing. I don't think we want to halt our carbon footprint so much as we want to reduce it. I think that's usually how you phrase that. So anyway, I support that. With respect to the reason I raised my hand, however, is there was a question of whether you're going to take a vote. I don't think a vote is necessary. Moreover, if you take a vote at committee, then you have to wait till full board because a committee vote is meaningless without a full board vote behind it. So I would think that this builds upon all the work that you've done already and doesn't need a full board vote, in my personal opinion. And I think that it sets a precedent you don't want by taking the vote. So that's my thought on that.
And that was our thought too. That's why we went with drafting a letter. So thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Everybody's hand is raised. Does anyone have another question?
Yeah, I have because it's in the DNS, I don't believe that you need to have a vote on it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for clarifying.
I left my hand up for the same reason. I mean, as long as it's consistent with the DNS and with everything we stand for, it's fine. If it were a policy thing or some sort of, programmatic sort of thing, then we should definitely have a resolution and have it go to full board for approval. Some sort of programmatic thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we'll make those minor edits that Mark and Ken suggested. And I don't see any other hands raised within the attendees or the panelists. So I think we are done with this agenda item as well. I think now we'll turn on to new business. Barbara, did you have any new business to discuss?
No.
No. Is there anybody else? Susan, you have your hand.
Two things. One is to let everyone know that a very, very old oak tree was lost today in Central Park near Oak Bridge. It was home to many, many birds, and so it will be sorely missed. Maybe a quick moment of silence. It was taken down. It's really sort of sad. And then the other thing was to say that I wonder if there'd be any appetite for this committee to support installation of a cell phone tower in the Ramble. It's a part of the park that has no communication, and it's at times a dangerous part of the park. It's the reason that the Chris Cooper confrontation couldn't be prosecuted, because the phone call to the police was inaudible because it was made from the Ramble. So I don't know if people know this. It was suggested as part of participatory budgeting, but it was not picked up. It would cost not that much money to do it. I think it's something the Center Park Police might support because they were pretty frustrated that they couldn't do anything prosecution. I'm just curious if anyone would be interested in that.
I'll just speak for myself as one of the co-chairs. I would be up for supporting something like that. I'd be up for supporting anything that makes the park a safer place.
It could be part of the expense budget for this year, for the 2024 budget.
That'd be great.
That's a very good idea, Roberta. You know, as crime is increasing and very unfortunately in the district, being in the Ramble is you're completely isolated there, and not being able to use a cell phone is just scary enough to keep you out of the Ramble. And it is, if you don't know, it's one of the most beautiful parts of Central Park. And I know that every time I walk through it, I'm fearful. So it's not a good thing.
But Barbara, there may also be other funds available. So I think when we have the meeting with Leo, we should look to see if there are funds from maybe one of the carriers who would fund it, Verizon or somebody
And
who would pay for it. And Gail could be the point person to do that.
that's a great idea, right?
You know, and the thing is, it wouldn't be an eyesore because there is already the weather station near Belvedere Castle. So there's certainly, you know, plenty of places you could hide it. It wouldn't be a problem, you know, aesthetically. I know the Conservancy is always concerned about that, but so thank you very much. I just was curious if people were interested. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan, for bringing that up.
Anybody else with any other item for new business? I see that Matt Genrich is on the call. I was wondering, Matt, if you had any updates or anything to report.
I guess the one thing, there will be a movie night at Bloomingdale Playground on May 7th. Our flyer hasn't been officially approved by marketing yet. So once I have that, I'll send that on to you and Barbara. I don't have any other updates. You know, fully support the art work going on at Annabelle Avilas. We're looking forward to you know, getting access to the bathroom there, but I'm not for sure on timing of when that's going to happen. But if anyone has any questions about anything in particular, I'd be happy to answer them or pass anything on to the other manager, Wes Hamilton, that manages Riverside Park.
I think Ken has his hand up.
Yeah, Matt, I'm forgetting, you don't have anything to do with Theodore Roosevelt Park, do you?
No, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just wondering how things are going there. You know, the crackdown on people not using the dog run and other
Yeah,
programs.
I've heard things are going pretty well, and reported last community board meeting that has definitely helped. And I've heard from a museum staff that it is it's definitely been working. So, you know, we've been kind of had nice weather and then bad weather. So we'll see, you know, stay on top of it, especially once we get consistently warm days, and make sure that, you know, people continue to use the dog run and not the lawns in the park.
And I heard also remarkably from the 81st Street community that it is very successful. And the people are not using the greens anymore, but just the dog run, which is exactly what you want. So it's good.
So are enforcement efforts still ongoing, or was it just like the first week or so? It was.
They are.
No, as far as I know, they're still doing patrols there. And I know Commissioner Castro had asked for some follow-up from them. So we'll look to see what their patrols look like, and maybe our next community board meeting, I'll have some more concrete information on that.
Yeah, we'd appreciate that update next month. Thank you so much.
Peter,
anybody else?
Peter seems to have his hand raised.
Yes.
Okay.
Am I
Hi.
able to, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, excellent. So I don't know if it's been mentioned, but on Monday, April 25th, there is a virtual meeting about Annabelle Avilas and plans for its renovation. I don't know if you've already talked about that, and I'm sorry if you have, but that will be coming up, and that it's a Zoom meeting, and it's through Parks.
Yes, Dan mentioned that, and Natasha or Barbara, if I was told Steve Simon had sent you the the flyer for that with the Zoom link. So if you don't have that, I can send that along to you as well to post.
Matt, I never got the Zoom link, but I did sign up for it. Maybe it's still coming. I don't know, but I'm planning to be there.
All right, I'll send you the flyer. In the flyer that I have, there's a link to the Zoom.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Matt, does it mention that that's my birthday that day?
Oh, I'm sorry, Susan, it does not.
Okay, just
Happy
curious.
birthday.
Thank you. Any other new business? All right. So with that, I think we can call for a motion to adjourn.
So called.
Second.
Thank you, everyone. See you at one of the meetings later.